We're now joined via Zoom by SACP spokesperson Dr. Alex Mashilo to weigh in on the commemoration of the passing of the former SACP Secretary General Chris Hani. Well, a very good afternoon to you, sir. Thanks very much for joining us here on SABC News.
Thank you very much, and greetings to you and to the viewers.
Well, I mean, of course, an important day in the history of South Africa's revolutionary calendar. I mean, let's talk about what the message of the SACP is in this year's commemoration. And, we keep hearing, year after year when we commemorate the passing of Chris Hani that, we don't have the full answers. And I wonder if it's one of those chapters in South African history that we'd unfortunately at some point have to close after so many years of wanting full answers.
Yes, we should not let our guard down when we talk about justice. It really doesn't matter how long we call for justice. For so long as it has not taken its course, we must tirelessly continue to call for justice. I am sure for us to close this chapter, we have to know who, for example, took the Z88 weapon from military armor and whose hands it went through set by set when it was conveyed to Janusz Walus, who pulled the trigger in the ultimate taking the life of Chris Hani in cold blood. There were many activities that took place between when that assassin pulled the trigger and when the gun was taken from military armory. For us to close the picture, we have to know who else had prior knowledge of the assassination and who else participated in it, including, in this case, that person or those people who took the Z88 weapon from the military armory.
Yeah. Chris Hani's name has become one of those names that we reflect on, in different situations when something affects us in the country, in terms of asking, what would Chris Hani's contribution be, or what would he have said about a certain situation. And, this year's commemoration comes at a time where, of course, the ANC, which Hani was part of, seems to be divided, and one wonders what you think that Hani would have said in contributing to some of those challenges that are faced by the ANC, and if it is clear cut where he would have stood on the debates, and especially when we're talking about the factions, would he have even been part of any of those factions? I mean, what are your thoughts as we reflect on Chris Hani?
It is quite difficult to speculate what line he would have taken. We can only refer to what he did before. You will recall that he and other commanders of the Umkhonto weSizwe, the joint military wing of the SACP and the ANC, produced a memorandum which has since been known as the Hani Memorandum, in which they were very critical about the state of the movement, its strategy and tactics towards achieving liberation in South Africa. They were very frustrated with things not moving back then. And that memorandum resulted in the ANC, among others, or among other contributors in the ANC, convening its Morogoro conference in April 1969. During that year, we saw the ANC adopt its first strategy and tactics, clarifying exactly what has to be done on the military front, on the political front, on the mass mobilization front, on the international isolation of apartheid front, and on the underground operations front in South Africa, connecting together all these pillars of struggle towards overthrowing the apartheid regime. One of the things that the memorandum actually isolated was the problem of corrupt conduct, which was already visible at that particular time, and other problems that Hani and the other commanders who signed the memorandum detailed in that particular memorandum. So here we talk about a figure who, as we know him from history, is someone who stood for unity of purpose, for the cohesion not only of the ANC, but of the ANC and its alliance partner, the SACP, as well as the unity and strength of Umkhonto Wesizwe and all other forces that rallied together to bring down apartheid in our country. We have no reason not to believe that that is the role he would be continuing to play as a unifier based on a program.
Yeah, we often see some of, Chris Hani videos on a day like this. I've just been watching on social media some of Chris Hani's old speeches and things he had to say. And I always wonder, if we are going to see his views and his words as just the rhetoric that is, conveniently used for whatever political agenda when needs be. And I think maybe that's the right point for me to ask you, as the SACP, how are you pushing forward some of the values that he stood for and some of the things that he spoke about? I mean, let's not forget how passionate he was about not only the liberation movement and the liberation of the black majority, but he also did speak about the issue of land. There were many issues that he spoke about which, you look today at the plight of the majority black that have never actually been achieved. And what are you doing as the SACP to push his views and what he wanted forward? Or have you abandoned some of his objectives and what he stood for?
Yes, firstly, we need to appreciate that all issues that Comrade Chris Hani spoke about are matters that require class struggle to resolve. And he appreciated the role of class struggle in society as that force that brings about social change. And the fact that in class struggle, it is the balance of power based on the forces, based on the contending forces that make things change. The SACP, for example, has taken forward the articulations made by Chris Hani on the health front. You would know that the SACP has been one of those leading voices for South Africa to adopt a national health insurance to deliver quality health care for all. That was one component of a campaign driven by Chris Hani as a leader of the SACP called the Triple H campaign, referring to ensuring quality health care for all, referring to housing or human settlement, and referring to strategies to eliminate hunger. All these issues are matters that require class struggle to resolve because the way production income is distributed in society is dependent upon the configuration of forces in the relations of production. And unless the working class is strong enough to move things its way, the situation will continue to be as it was, except for this or that improvement. Insofar as all these issues that Hani articulated, we are still on course. It is a matter of class struggle to resolve these issues.
All right, Dr. Alex Mashilo, thank you very much for giving us your time. No doubt a busy day for you today as you were at those commemorations. We appreciate that you indeed stepped out to give us a talk with us here on SA Today. Thanks, sir. All right, that is Dr. Alex Mashilo, is SACP spokesperson, weighing in on the commemoration of the death of former SACP Secretary General Chris Hani. And of course, those commemorations did take place earlier today.